The Enfield Horror. There are places in America where the night feels heavier. Places where the air seems to listen. And where the shadows move in ways they shouldn't. Tonight, we travel to one such place. A small, quiet community in southern Illinois. A town almost forgotten by time, until something stepped out of the darkness. Something the locals still call the Enfield Horror. This is a slow descent into the mystery. A calm retelling of one of the strangest cryptid sightings ever recorded. An encounter so bizarre, so unnatural, that even today, its details feel like the fragments of a fever dream. Settle in. Breathe slowly. And let the eerie stillness of Enfield, Illinois, surround you. The town the night forgot. Enfield, Illinois in the spring of 1973. A rural town of barely a few hundred people. A place where fields stretch endlessly, and gravel roads vanish into darkness. A place where nights are quiet, almost too quiet. There were no streetlights on the outskirts. Just wooden barns, rusted fences, and the old houses that seemed to lean with age. People kept to themselves. Doors were locked not because of crime, but because the night animals wandered close, and the wind carried strange sounds. And it was here, in this stillness, that one of the most chilling cryptid stories in American history unfolded. A story whispered today by those who study the Enfield Horror creature. A bizarre, three-legged monstrosity that defies all logic. But to understand what happened, we must first meet the man who saw it up close. The first sighting. It was the night of April 25, 1973. Henry McDaniel, a quiet, ordinary man, had just returned home. His small house sat near railroad tracks. Tracks that stretched like silver scars across the lonely land. As Henry stepped inside, something felt wrong. The house seemed too still. The silence felt unnatural. And then, a sound shattered the calm. A scratching at the door. Slow. Precise. Like claws dragging lightly across the surface. Henry paused. His heart picked up. At first he thought it might be a dog. Or a raccoon. He approached the door. And the scratching grew louder. Henry would later say that every instinct told him to stay away. But curiosity pulled him forward. He opened the front door, just a crack. And what he saw should not exist. Standing on his doorstep was a creature like nothing he had ever seen. A being that looked stitched together from nightmares. Henry said it stood close to 4 feet tall. It had 3 legs, though not like a tripod. Each limb bent oddly, as if it had been broken and healed wrong. Its skin was grayish, wrinkled, almost rubbery. Its small body seemed to wobble with each movement. And its eyes burned bright red in the dark, glowing like embers. Henry froze. The creature stared back. Neither moved for several long seconds. Then, the thing hissed. A sound so sharp and unnatural that Henry stumbled backward. He slammed the door, grabbed his pistol, and fired through the crack. 2 shots rang out into the night. The creature screamed. A sound unlike anything in the woods of Illinois. A shriek that seemed to vibrate in Henry's bones. And then, according to Henry, it leapt more than 50 feet in a single bound. disappearing into the night, back toward the railroad tracks. Henry stood alone in the silence, the house trembling with the echo of his heartbeat. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't done. The tracks in the dust. The next morning, Henry called the police. When officers arrived, they expected to find nothing. A frightened man. An overactive imagination. But the earth told a different story. In the soft dirt near Henry's home, they found footprints. Strange, inhuman footprints. Three-toed. Deep. Clawed. Unlike any known animal in Illinois. One officer described them as dog-like, but not quite right. Another said they reminded him of a bird's tracks. If the bird had weighed more than 200 pounds, whatever made them was real. And it had walked right up to Henry's door. The police filed their report. But they had no explanation. Henry McDaniel's story spread. First through neighbors. Then through local newspapers. And soon, through cryptid researchers across the Midwest. The town of Enfield was no longer quiet. The creature returns. 2 weeks later, the Enfield Horror came back. It was late May. Children were playing outside when they saw movement near the railroad tracks. One boy screamed. He later told reporters he saw a weird gray thing, with tiny arms and red eyes. Another boy swore the creature tried to grab him. People ran inside. Doors slammed. Windows locked. But the creature didn't chase them. Instead, it moved with slow, strange hops. Like something unused to gravity. Witnesses said it almost looked hurt. Or confused. As if it didn't belong in this world. It crossed the tracks. Paused. And vanished into the trees. By now, the legend of the Enfield Horror had taken shape. And word traveled far beyond the small borders of the town. Curiosity seekers flooded Enfield. Monster hunters, thrill seekers, cryptid investigators. Some came armed. Some came with cameras. Some came with nothing but fear and hope. The tiny community felt overwhelmed. And the creature sightings only grew stranger. The hunters. On one warm night, a group of young men decided to hunt the Enfield Horror. They roamed the fields with shotguns. Flashlights sweeping through the grass. Every rustle sending chills down their spines. At the edge of the woods, they heard it. A low, guttural moaning. Then the bushes shook violently. The men raised their weapons, ready to fire. But what stepped out was not the creature. It was a small, terrified armadillo. Common in the region, but harmless. The men laughed nervously. Maybe that was all Henry had seen. Maybe this whole thing was a misunderstanding. But just as they relaxed, something screamed from deeper in the woods. Not an armadillo. Not a dog. Not human. The men fled, dropping one of their guns in panic. That scream would haunt them for years. Theories, fears, and the unexplained. As the sightings grew, experts began to offer explanations. Some believed it was a kangaroo. Escaped from a private owner or traveling carnival. But kangaroos don't have glowing red eyes. They don't have 3 legs. They don't leap 50 feet in a single bound. Others believed it was a mutated animal, deformed by chemicals or illness. But no known mutation matches the creature's strange anatomy. Then came the truly bizarre theories. A being from another dimension. An alien. A cryptid species native to the Midwest. A creature pushed into the open by floods that ravaged Illinois that year. But none of these theories fully explained what people saw. The truth was simpler and more terrifying. People were seeing something real. Something unclassified. Something that seemed to wander the rural edges of Enfield. Like a lost, wounded ghost of the natural world. The final sighting. The last widely accepted sighting of the Enfield Horror occurred late one evening in June. A couple driving home saw a gray figure crouched beside the road. As their headlights swept across it, the creature turned. Its red eyes reflecting like burning coals. The couple slowed their vehicle. Not out of bravery, but shock. The creature stood up on its strange, twisted legs. It wobbled. Took a few steps. And then leapt across the road in one incredible bound. The couple would later say it seemed like something trying to escape. As if afraid of us. Or afraid of something else. After that night, the sightings stopped. The creature vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. What was the Enfield Horror? To this day, the Enfield Horror remains one of the strangest cryptid encounters in American history. The eyewitnesses were consistent. Their descriptions aligned. The footprints were real. The fear was real. And yet, the creature was never caught. Never photographed. Never found again. Researchers still debate what walked through Enfield in 1973. Was it a cryptid? An unknown species? A mutated animal? A visitor from somewhere else? Or was it something wounded? Something lost? Something that wandered too close to human homes before slipping back into whatever dark place it came from? No one knows. But the legend remains. The fields of Enfield still whisper with the memory. The railroad tracks still glint under the moonlight. And those who walk the outskirts at night say they sometimes hear strange scratching on old wooden doors. Final thoughts. Whether you believe the story or not, the Enfield Horror stands as a reminder of something ancient. That the world is bigger than we imagine. That the night still holds secrets. And that somewhere, in the quiet corners of the Midwest, a creature with 3 legs and glowing red eyes may still wander alone beneath the stars. This has been a calm exploration. A slow walk through one of America's strangest mysteries. A story whispered by farmers, feared by children, and studied by cryptid hunters around the world. The Enfield Horror. A creature born from the shadows, and forever part of them.